How's it going, guys? Welcome to today's video. It's a pretty windy, miserable day out here today, so I thought it would be a good day to get in the shop and show you guys a project that I've been wanting to get started on for a long time. That's what we're talking about today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. So even though we are going to go back and get into the shop, I still need to take care of my responsibilities, which include, of course, this guy right here. He's hungry, so we're going to go ahead and feed him first. All right, guys, so we're back here in the shop and out of the wind, which is nice. My project that I want to show you guys, actually my longtime viewers might recognize this. I briefly touched on it in an older video, but let me just show you what it is. I keep looking at it and then looking back at the camera. Let me show you what it is. So I am talking about my old Ford tractor here. Now, a couple of you guys have asked about this tractor in the comments because I guess you've seen it in the background. And I thought, you know what, this is a project that I've kind of been putting off, but I wanted to get done. So a few people have showed some interest, so I thought what better time than now to get started on it. So when a lot of people look at this and see the color scheme and that it's a Ford, they assume that it's an 8N. It is not an 8N. It is actually a couple model years newer than what the 8Ns are. This is a 53 NAA, also called a Golden Jubilee. I want to say the 8Ns were like 1948, 49, somewhere in there. So this was probably just the next generation right after an 8N. Now, I say that it's a Golden Jubilee, and I'm basing it off of this emblem on the hood that supposedly the regular Jubilees didn't come with this emblem. Now, to be perfectly honest with you guys, that may not be the original hood that came on this tractor. I really don't know. My grandpa bought this tractor in, I want to say the 60s sometime, maybe late 50s, and we've had it ever since then. I have noticed that the engine block was obviously blue at one time, and it looks like there's red paint on top of it. So I know some of the NAAs came with a blue. They were blue and white instead of red and white, so this might have had an engine swap at one time, or I'm not really sure. Actually, now that I mentioned that, I do kind of seem to remember my grandpa telling me that he changed the engine in this. So I really haven't done much on this project yet, apart from a little bit of disassembly. The one thing that I have gotten accomplished is I made this battery box. Now, you can buy these I've been getting all this stuff from Yesterday's Tractor, but they're pretty expensive. That was like 60 bucks, and I was pretty sure that I could make it. So I tried to make it. So no, it's not factory original. I mean, most people won't know the difference once it's painted, but actually it fits in there beautifully. So I'm pretty happy with it. Now, I have started accumulating a little bit of parts for it, and there's still a few more things that I need, but let me show you what I have so far. So far we have a carburetor rebuild kit, which is the comprehensive kit, basically meaning that this has like all the parts. This is a full rebuild. This isn't just, you know, a new jet and a new needle valve. This is the real deal. I mean, look at all that. That's going to be fun. And the other thing that I've gotten for it is a 12-volt conversion system. Now, it also comes with a wiring harness, which I'm not sure how extensive that is, if that's everything. I mean, there's not a ton of wires on these tractors to begin with. So if that's not a complete wiring harness, then I'll probably get that as well, because these old tractors, you know, the housing on the wires just starts cracking, and you know, I mean, this tractor is from 1953, so it's old. I can't do the math in my head right away, but it's old. It's really old. So yeah, if that wiring harness doesn't cover everything, then we'll probably go ahead and replace that as well. All right, so some purists might kind of give me grief about converting this to 12 volt, but the reason that I'm doing it is because I actually plan to use this tractor, and it's been 6 volt my whole life, and when it works, that, you know, that's fine, but What I was having a problem with was the 6 volt batteries just not really lasting that long, and it was like every year when I would come to start this tractor, the battery would be dead. And there's probably other ways to get around that, but if like battery tenders and that sort of thing. But I just feel like the 12 volt system makes the tractor more usable. It's easier to find lights to put on it. It turns over a lot faster, and it's just all around better. At least from the research that I've done, I think that's the way to go for me. So a few other things that I'd probably want to tackle on this job is like the steering linkage is really loose. It's leaking oil, which you can't be surprised, with a tractor this age. They leak oil. New fan belt, obvious things like that. Probably just go ahead and do, new cap rotor, plugs, wires, all that stuff. That stuff is relatively cheap, and it's pretty cheap insurance. So, yeah, I mean, to me, there's no reason not to do that. So I'm guessing before I go ahead with the 12 volt conversion, I'm going to need a 12 volt coil. Actually, this is something you guys could help me with. When I ordered the parts, they told me that I did not need a 12 volt coil, that the 6 volt coil would work. But everything else that I have read and seen on YouTube says that you do need the 12 volt coil. That's a mouthful. I'm going to try it again. 12 volt coil. Bam. I've got another leak back here. This is actually a little bit more of a severe leak. I mean, actually enough to drip out onto the shop floor. So something will probably have to be done about that. I'm guessing that is a hard seal to replace, but if we have to, then we have to. This rear tire is good. Actually, this was replaced in my lifetime. I remember when that happened. This other rear tire, though, I mean, it's not terrible. It's got tread on it, but there's a lot of cracking. And, like I say, I actually do plan to use this thing to feed off of. So, I don't know. If I can get a decent deal on a new tire, then I'll probably go for it. So, other than those few issues, I mean, the tractor is fairly sound. It actually ran when I parked it. So I don't anticipate having to do like a full engine rebuild. Although I've considered doing it anyway, just because, well, let me tell you guys what my long-term kind of goal is for this tractor. So this tractor, like I said before, is a 1953, and a little while back I just kind of had this thought, like, wouldn't it be so cool to drive this tractor when it's 100 years old? So that would be 2053, and I would be 68 years old. So it's kind of could happen. I mean, I don't plan to be dead by then. You never know. But I think, the biggest problem by then might be finding gasoline. I mean, who knows what things are going to look like in 2053. But I just think that would be so cool to be able to drive this tractor when it's 100 years old. So at some point, I might even go ahead and like sandblast this thing and try to paint it and get it looking good. But like I said, I do plan to use it, so I don't know if it's worth it to get it that pretty, because then, when I'm feeding cows with it and stuff, if I scratch it or something, I'm going to be bummed out. And the way it is now, it's ready to work. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it has a lot of character, which is cool. And, I could hit it with the pressure washer. That would probably make it look a lot better. But yeah, I don't know. Still on the fence about painting it. Time's just going to have to tell on that one. So to tell you the truth, if this was any other old Jubilee, I really wouldn't care all that much about it. I'd probably just go ahead and continue to use the New Holland. But the reason that I want to take the time to fix this up and spend the money to do it right is because this was my grandpa's tractor. Like I said, he bought it, I'm thinking in the 60s, and he used it for pulling a hay baler, a hay rake, and to feed cattle off of. The other thing that really stands out about this tractor to me is this is the very first tractor that I ever drove. I'm thinking I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I remember sitting on my grandpa's lap driving this thing. So it's got a lot of sentimental value to me that way. And it's a piece of him that I can keep here, and during the wintertime when I'm feeding cows, it's something that I'll use every day. All right, guys, so with the squeeze chute being basically finished, I just need to get it cleaned up and painted. This is going to be the next big project that we have going on here in the shop. Now, if you guys have any experience with these older tractors or you've worked on something similar, let me know in the comments if there's anything that I should look out for or anything that I might need to know about this. Thanks for hanging out in the shop with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.